Alright guys, we're getting ready to cut off my man's mullet. He's had it ever since I've been cutting his hair, which has been about 2 years. I've been cutting his son's hair, about 1.5 years cutting his. If you guys have ever had trouble cutting off a mullet and making it still look like something, then I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do it. So right here, this is exactly how I jumped straight into it. But before that, let's see how we started this haircut off. And just real quick guys, if there are any haircuts that you want to see or haircuts that you struggle with, please drop a comment below and I'll try to bring some content catered to you guys. If you are one of those guys that doesn't care about cutting the top of the hair, go ahead and skip up to 236, and that's where the clipper work starts at. And of course, we're going to start every straight hair texture haircut by saturating the hair with water, making sure that everything that we're going to cut is covered. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this up and cut about 1 inch off, and really we're point cutting super deep into his hair. He asked me to cut off his mullet, but still leave him something still creative and still Drew is his name. That makes sure that Drew still stands out and just doesn't look like a regular guy, because he's not a regular guy. He does a lot of cool shit. So all we're gonna do is on our 2 sections on the side of the top of the head is we're still gonna point cut it. We're just gonna angle it. So now that we've really set a foundation for the top and the weight section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in with the back and we're gonna set up a foundation. We are gonna cut most of this hair off with a clipper, but I still wanna make sure to be on the safe side and just get a rough draft of what we're really gonna look at for this haircut. So now we're gonna take our 3 guard with the lever all the way closed. I didn't really think of it this way until Sean said it at the last class that we taught, but anything above a 2 guard, we're gonna start all the way closed because we don't just want it to push the hair around. We wanna make sure that it's actually gonna cut hair. Once we've established our weight and how we want the hair to sit, we're gonna go ahead and take some clay or some matte paste. We're gonna go ahead and style the hair and let it sit how it's gonna sit, so while we're cutting the sides, we know what the finished product is gonna continue to look like. Now that we have done that, we're gonna set in our bald line, and I'm gonna try to set it as like a low drop fade because I know I want it to sit in like the mid fade range, but I don't want to give him too bald. He's always had a mullet. I've never really balded him all the way out. I just didn't want to take him shaver bald up too high. So we're gonna set in our first guideline with the Filthy Mod on my Wall Metal Magic Clip. We're gonna set it about 1 inch high. And this right here is gonna be the blurry part of the fade right above his ears. So this part is where we're gonna spend most of our time at. I always start with the lever all the way open, work down to halfway open, and then all the way closed. What I did right there was make sure I had a clean section to look at while fading. And you can tell right there, I just went ahead and did halfway open and all the way closed in the front. And I'm gonna continue to keep that consistent all the way throughout all of our guidelines. Same stuff with the 1 guard, start open, flicking up into that weight. We're just trying to make sure that we can give him a smooth haircut without cutting too harsh of lines into it. Now we're gonna grab our 0 guard and we're gonna go halfway open, flicking up to the line that we just got done doing with our 1 guard closed, and then we will close it up as needed. And really, we're just trying to make sure that this part is so blurry for my man here. If it's not blurry, then what's the point in doing it? You gotta try to get it the best you can, and I've never faded this much of his head before, so it was a challenge for me. Now we're gonna take our 2-guard, flicking up into this weight, and hopefully this is gonna be the last steps. We might have to clipper over comb or shear over comb, thin and shear over comb, whatever you prefer. It all gets the job done. But the 2-guard is the biggest guard we're gonna go because we already set it up with a 3 in the beginning. And guys, shout out to MANUEL for letting me use his beats. If you guys would like to listen to some more of his beats, click the link in my bio and go check him out. And what we have left to do on this side of his head, on his hair, is cutting the color, guys. You already know what it is. We just got to make sure everything is flowing and that any dark or light spots can mesh well enough together to where it looks like the perfect fade. There is no perfect fade, but all we can do is try to get close. Since we cut the top of the hair first, we do not have to stack our big guards. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stack our 2 and our 1.5, smoothing out the transition from the fade to the blend. And once that is over, we will go ahead and grab our thin and shears. And we're just gonna do a little bit thin and shear over comb and make sure it all connects. All right, guys, jumping right into the beard. We're gonna start with the lever all the way open. I'm gonna start my section at the middle of the ear, and then we will fade up from there. Next, we'll take the 1 guard to the bottom of the ear, doing the same steps. We really wanna put some emphasis on a fade next to the ear because that's really where all the fade is. If you do it too high, it looks like you just blocked off a sideburn. If you do it too low, it looks like you messed up his beard. So if you just try to follow by these steps that I'm showing you guys here, you'll make sure that you always keep it nice for at least this type of beard. He's got a pretty big beard. If you got somebody with a short beard, you can stretch it a little bit more. So let me correct myself before I get a little too far. But for a beard like this, you wanna make sure you keep all the fade by the ear. You can tell equivalent with his mustache straight across is where his fade stops, so that the bulk of his beard is not lost. And all right, guys, we're gonna move on to the back, but before we can start the back, we're gonna try to set in the same exact bald line that we did on the other side, and then connect the back to the other side. And if it looks all good, we'll go ahead and start on the back. now that we've connected it, we're gonna go in with the lever all the way open, just flicking up, setting in a pretty big section, because the back is always the hardest part whenever you're fading. I don't care what anybody says, you got so much more room for error. So what I did to go ahead and start this off is take a trimmer and flick up, setting in that small little gradient section. We always call it dots because it's like so bald it's not really hair, but it is still coming out the follicle. After that, we're gonna take the lever halfway open, flicking all the way up to the top, and then the lever all the way closed, making sure that it is a flawless transition. We're gonna go ahead and grab the one guard and do the same thing, and you can tell my man salt and pepper, the black is starting to show right here. This was the difficult part, I'm not gonna lie, but keep watching the video, you see I did my man's right. And right here we're using our 1.5, about to grab our 2 guard and finish off this back area. I think it's starting to come together smooth, guys. I mean, I would say salt and pepper is one of the harder textures of hair because you're literally trying to make white, gray, black, brown. You're trying to make all these colors mixed together, and it's just hard. But I mean, this the closest we can get it, and this is what we're gonna have to do. And we're just gonna go ahead and speed up the last side, of course, leaving in some parts I cut out before. So you might see one of my secrets, one of my tips I might not share. I'm just playing, I share everything with you guys because if it wasn't for my subscribers, how would I get better myself? Every single video I do, I watch and I study what I'm doing, and it helps me go back in the next day and get better at cutting hair. I know you guys were just sitting there thinking about it, and if you agree that you do like this video, go ahead and go down to the bottom, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and hit that subscribe button. And now what we got left is the beard on this side again. I know it's sped up, but you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make sure that it's super blurry by his ear, and then the rest is all transition. Everything else we're doing, we just want to make it smooth, but still have a, I can't even think of the right word. We still just want it to pop while not getting into the bulk of the beard. Before I did that, I guess I went ahead and got into the lineup. I didn't really line him up crispy, but most people don't get their hairline straight across, so I felt like that was one of those steps to make it a different haircut while still looking like himself. So now, I was getting ahead of myself. Now we're gonna get into the beard. I'm gonna just let the music ride. It's always satisfying to just kind of sit back and watch somebody shape up a big beard. The one step I can tell you guys is take a pick, like you would pick out an afro, pick out a beard. It's so light on a beard. And of course I say that and use a comb. I think he had already picked out prior to coming to me. Alright guys, that's the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had to slay the mullet and change him into a different man. I think this is the best his hair has looked. I hope you guys agree. Leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. It's Cuts by Coast, and I'm out of here.